Does he deserve the Canelo fight now? I'd say, why not? Give it him, why not?
Pro boxing fans here in Sheffield, it's fight week. Leigh Wood, Josh Warrington with me. I've got none other than Jamie Moore. Jamie, first of all, one of your charges makes his debut. I've heard a lot of things. Sam Jones is doing his thing as a manager and telling me he's the greatest fight he's ever seen. But Cameron Vuong, just talk to me about him, man. Nice, talk to me about Cameron, because I came to the gym a couple of weeks ago. I spoke to him, spoke to yourself, but just talk to me about how things have gone with him so far.
Yeah, going really well. He's a good kid. He's a nice kid. You know, he's got his feet on the ground, and yeah, you know, Sam's job is to big him up. My job's to sort of drag him back down to earth and make sure he don't get carried away with himself. But if he does what he's supposed to do and keeps his focus and keeps progressing the way he is, he'll be a special fighter.
How much experience has he gained in this short amount of time? I know he's been sparring Jack Catterall, so that itself is worth its weight in gold in regards to where he is right now. But just talk to me about the gym and how he's adapted to everything and all the champions that are in the gym.
Yeah, of course. Listen, he's only been in the gym for 4 to 5 weeks. Already a well-established amateur, but he's come in. He was sparring with Jack and Akib straight away, and you know, more than holding his own, doing really well with him. And then we've been to Dubai on a 10-day training camp as well. So in that time, so you know when you sort of spend all day every day with someone, you get to know them a lot quicker. And instead of us just being in the gym for an hour or two and then sort of going our separate ways, we all live with each other for 10 days. So yeah, we sort of come away from that sparring some Cuban kids over there in Dubai, and I come away knowing a lot more about him than I did 10 days before. So it was a good experience.
Yeah, I saw the picture of the team sort of out there. Let's talk about some of the other fighters as well. I know you're quite busy now. You're in that busy period as a trainer. Jack, how's he getting on in preparation for his fight in 2 weeks' time?
Yeah, 2 weeks Saturday. Yeah, he's a consummate professional. Jack, he's always in good shape. You never really have to get him into shape. He just has to sort of make sure he peaks at the right time and just sort of up the rounds and stuff like that. So he's exactly where he needs to be, and because he's got momentum now, you know, he's boxing sort of actively, and then he's going straight back into camps again. You can see his timing and sharpness is there, and I'm excited for this fight. Yeah.
Just run me down the rest of the gym quickly. I know obviously Chantelle's outside, but just run me down what's going on with the rest of them.
Well, I've got Akib Fiaz on the same bill as Jack Catterall. He's boxing for the Commonwealth title as well. So Bellotti, you know, it's no easy task, and if you look at Akib's record, you know, we haven't matched him easy in the first 12 fights. What he's been involved in, but he's took a lot of lessons on board in those 12 fights, which was the reason why we took those stiffer tests than you generally take, to make sure that when he did step up, he was ready for it. And I'm more than confident he's ready for it. You know, he's going in there with a seasoned campaigner in Bellotti, who's sort of been there and won titles before. But I really do think that Akib can go a long way in this sport, and you know, I don't want to sort of jump the gun, but if he performs the way I know he can perform, and I believe he can perform, it should be a statement fight, this fight.
And just the rest of the gym, who else have you got out? Obviously November you've got a big fight for Chantelle, a huge fight. But let me actually talk about that fight. It seems obviously as a champion you still got to go back into Ireland and do what you've got to do for a second time around. Is that something that you've had to agree on just because of the stature?
We never agreed on going back to Dublin. We just got told that's what was happening. So that's Matchroom's prerogative, I suppose. They're the promoters, and in the contract it's stated at Matchroom's discretion. So, you know, as much as we didn't want it in Dublin, because why would you want to go back into her back garden? In a way, I don't mind going back to Dublin, because I love Dublin, and we've got good memories from there because of what happened last time. So it's sort of catch-22, and you know, Katie having home advantage might even be a disadvantage to her, because this is a lot of pressure on her shoulders now, coming off the first loss, and again, Chantelle's in the same boat as she was last time, where she's going in there with no pressure on her shoulders, and she's relaxed and calm, and she's probably in a better place than she was the first time, because she knows she can beat Katie now. So I think all the pressure's on Katie, and you know, would we have liked it on neutral ground at least? Then of course we would. But you know, we play with the cards we dealt.
I do want to ask you about the main event on Saturday night. On your left, we've got Leigh Wood doing the interview behind. Talk to me about this fight. A lot of people are saying, look, Josh Warrington's probably a little bit past his best. Do you agree with that? And if so, how do you see this fight playing out?
Well, I know there was certain things in the Lara fight, the first fight, where going into it, things wasn't ideal. I know that from sort of behind the scenes. And it very well could be the case that Josh Warrington's getting past his best. But we'll never know that until this fight takes place on Saturday, and that's why I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Leigh Wood, I love the way his career's gone, and he's sort of having that Indian summer. But at some stage, he's going to get old. He's 34. He's the older guy. I know Josh might have a few more miles on the clock, but in terms of sort of age and longevity, he's a little bit older. So it's such an intriguing fight. Got to take it out to both of the guys for actually taking this fight at this time in the career and putting it all on the line. And I seen a podcast yesterday with Nick Pete, and he was saying, I hope these guys have a second fight and a third fight and can really sort of cement themselves and earn some money. I think it's a great idea, because these two fighters have given people so much entertainment over the years, and they deserve to finish their careers on a high. And be involved in big fights like this. So I really can't sort of pick who I think. I've just got a feeling that Josh isn't as far past his best as people think they are, and I think he might surprise a lot of people.
Fair enough. I do want to talk about boxing quickly before I do let you go. A big fight, the fight that we all wanted, has been sort of announced in a way that the contracts are signed for Usyk and Fury. Yeah. Just talk to me about, I know we've been in boxing a long time enough to know that until both fighters are in the ring, you never know what can happen, but the news has come out that the contracts are signed. How big a news is this for boxing in general? Listen,
it has to happen, you know. For the sake of boxing, the biggest guys in the world and the ones who are sort of at the pinnacle of the sport and in their careers, both heavyweight champions, and it's got to happen. You know, there's been a lot of politics and a lot of talk about it over the last 12 months or whatever, but eventually it seems like it's going to happen, and I really can't see past Tyson Fury. I think they're very similar in terms of how awkward their attributes are to their opponents, except Fury's way bigger. So I just can't see past that, and you know, as much as I want to see it happen, you know, to be fair, I want to see Tyson Fury versus AJ. Yeah, I think that'll be an absolute crying shame if that fight never happens for British boxing. But in terms of the biggest fight in the division, it's got to be that one, and I'm glad it's going to happen if it does.
One thing I do want to ask you about, I was watching a podcast yesterday from True Geordie, somebody who talks a lot about the sport. You know, he's got a podcast called The Pain Game, and he gets a lot of eyes on it. He says in his podcast that Tyson Fury hasn't been a good champion. He hasn't defended against the best, and he's cherry-picked his fights. And the only reason why he's taken this fight is because there was so much money on the line, he couldn't say no. Do you firstly believe that Tyson Fury has been a good champion?
Listen, Tyson Fury's beat the best fighters around in the division, aside from Usyk and AJ, and he's going to fight Usyk. Has he been as active as people would have liked him to have been? No, he's not, and you know, it's not a secret. He'd admit that himself. But there's a lot of politics goes on in the game behind the scenes, what no one sees, and people will always try and point the finger at who they would like to be the villain and see who's thing. I've not been involved in those conversations, so I don't know whose fault it is why they've not took place. So would I have liked to see Tyson Fury fight AJ and Usyk already? Of course I would, like everyone else does. But sometimes it's just not as plain sailing as that. So, you know, in an ideal world, would Jack Catterall have rematched Josh Taylor straight away? Yeah, but things happen. You know, Josh got injured, and these things happen. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. So I'm not going to stand here pointing the finger and saying whose fault it is. Just let's be thankful, if and when it does take place, that we get to see it.
Our final one before I do let you go, we saw Canelo fight Jermell Charlo last weekend. Straight after that, Eubank Jr has sort of come on social media and called out Canelo, saying, listen, he won't lie down like Charlo did. Yeah. What do you make of sort of Chris calling him out, and do you feel like Chris has a chance against Canelo, who people are saying maybe towards the end of his career?
Listen, everyone wants the Canelo fight because, you know, it's no secret why. But let's be honest, up until Chris beat Liam Smith, then he didn't really have any grounds to start calling for that. The Liam Smith win is a really good win on his regime now at the right probably time. So all the times he's called him out before, I was like, come on now, what, you know, why? But I've seen no problem with him calling Canelo out right now at this point in time, because he deserves it, because he proved everyone wrong. He actually took a lot of credit or he should take a lot of credit for showing the guts to go straight back in there with Liam Smith after what happened in the first fight, and he actually turned it around. So you take it after him. I've been a critic of Eubank in the past, but when people turn it around and do what he's doing, you have to take it off and give him the maximum amount of respect possible, and that's what I'm giving him. And does he deserve the Canelo fight now? I'd say, why not? Give it him, why not?
Cool. Jamie, I am going to let you go. I think the press conference is going to start in the next couple of minutes, but always great catching up with you. Next time I talk to you, I hope Man United are in a better position, because we're absolutely
in a better mood by then if they are as well.
Jamie Moore, always a pleasure, mate. Thank you very much.